So it created the JSON, and here you can see this is OpenAPI 3.0 and it's in the JSON format. So this is my definition. So I will go with the private one and I will click the create mock server. So now what it do is like it will run in a server with the services, the mock server for ourselves, for us on this particular endpoint. Yes, out there, and I'm back with another video on your favorite YouTube channel, QB Bro. So for the last few weeks, we were looking at this awesome tool, the Postman, and we were exploring the available features out there. Mainly, like all these things we did so far was mainly related for the testing purposes, isn't it? We saw how we can create the collections and then how we can create the scripts and how we can integrate this with automation with the Postman features and also with other third-party features as well. So today I will explain you another two features available with the Postman. One is the APIs part. Yeah, I believe like it should have different name because like with Postman everything all the time we talk about APIs and the feature name is also API. So in that case it's a bit confusing. I would like to say, let's say like the API builder or something like that could make sense more rather saying like the APIs and the mock servers part. So here you will see that the two icons, APIs and the mock servers. So today our main focus will be on these two features. So if you don't see this here, you know where to enable those. So you can go to configure your workspace sidebar and here you will see those items, APIs, mock servers. Last time we enabled these monitors and those. Similar way you can enable mock servers and the APIs as well. Okay. So with keeping that in mind, I will come to the APIs. So API is like the place. So yeah, previously like when we creating the collections, what we did was like we create the collection, or I mentioned that we can import as well. So for an existing API, we try to create the requests here from the collections. But here the API part, the difference is like you can use this particular place or this particular feature to define your APIs. So if you are developing, let's say, yeah, you guys are working on a new API for your one of your services, and then yeah, the backend work is going on. But then you need to define your API. I mean, the API spec should be there. So that's how someone else, let's say, if you are going to make your APIs available for the public, then you need to share these API specs, the documentations. Then that's how the outsiders will know like what are the services, the endpoints, then what are the parameters and what are the data types of each parameters, then what are the optional parameters, the mandatory parameters, then about the response as well. Likewise, all these things are defined in your API specs. So this is the place where you can develop your API specs. So yeah. So here also like if you come to the APIs, you can see the option create an API, or here also you will see the new option or the plus sign. So using any of these places, you can create your new API, or else if you have any files, so you can use this import feature as well. Here also you can use the curls or the URLs, or you can simply drag and drop your APIs. So instead of that, I will go with this create API option. So when I click on this create API, okay, so it will ask me to give a name. So I will say, I will just give a name, QB Bro API. Okay, I have a name. And then here you will see quick start your API by connecting a repo. So yeah, you can connect your GitHub repo. So let's say your backend work is there and then those are in GitHub, then you can connect your GitHub as well here. So then it will open your to authorization purposes. Then you can authorize. Then yeah, if you have two-factor authentication, then you need to add the code as well. Okay, then after that, let's wait. Okay, now it's authorized from GitHub side, and I can now close this. Okay, and I can come to the okay, so now this is the place. Now since I'm authorized with GitHub, so now all the data from GitHub side will be visible here. I can select what is my organization. So these things I hope you can remember. We discussed when we are on the GitHub playlist about the organizations. Then here it will list down like all the repositories available under my organization. So yeah, so let's say for the time being, I will select one of these. And okay, what is the, so here in my repo, selected repo, there were some branches and those branches are showing. So I will give as main branch, and then here API schema file. So I can select the schema file, so that is optional, or I can select the collection directory. So I will select this dot. Okay, I will create a new repo. Say, let's say it's Postman. I will give the name. Okay, and then I will select this folder, and I will connect with my repo. Now my Postman and the GitHub repository is connected. So here also you can see now it's showing all my details like my GitHub repository, my branch, those things are showing here. Okay, so after that, after doing that part, here you can give some information about the API. So you can add the summary, a description, those things you can add here. Okay, let's say this is a test API. Okay, and then I can add the description part. So yeah, here you can do all the formattings as well. I think it's enough. Then here is the important place. So here what it's like, this is kind of the documentation it's creating. Using the Postman, you can simply create the documentation for your API. And then the important part is like for your API, you need to have this definition. So as I mentioned, it's the spec, all the information related to the API. So this is the place where you can add your definitions. So if you already have it in a file downloaded, you can import the files, or else there are other methods as well. You can add it from the connected repository if it is already there, or else you can create it from the scratch. So I will go with this author from scratch since I don't have any files now. And then this is like some theory things, like with APIs there are different definitions, types are there. So here the things are showing like there are different APIs, like either it could be a GraphQL, or else RML, WSDL, OpenAPI. Likewise, there are different general types are there. So here also you can get some information, like if you click on this over this eye icon, definitions, outline, and APIs, structure, behavior, function, and data type. So as I mentioned, so using this definition type, if anyone come and check the definition file, they can get a full idea about what are the available endpoints, what services it provides, and like what are the for each request, what are the data types and the parameters, and what are the return types or the response. All the information will be here. So you can select either WSDL or likewise any available option. So since like WSDL, OpenAPI, and GraphQL are like very popular ones, so I will go with like OpenAPI 3.0, and then the format you can select. This OpenAPI will support both YAML and JSON, but if you go with WSDL, it supports only the XML. So I will, let's say, select OpenAPI and I will go with JSON format, and I will, here there is another option called user boilerplate. So this mean like it will provide you with a template. Then it will be easy. You just need to go and update the available template. So it will add OpenAPI 3.0 JSON format, a template. So then you can simply update the template instead of create it from the scratch. So I will also add this template to save our time. And I will click on create definition. Okay, now you can see it will open. Okay. So it created the JSON, and here you can see this is OpenAPI 3.0 and it's in the JSON format. So this is my definition. So here you can see all the information, like here it gives some general information about our API, and then OpenAPI version, then our service versions, and then a title for our API and the description. Likewise, the information part is there. After that, the paths. So here is the endpoint. So base URL, and after that, what is the endpoints. So here if you call the base URL and spacecrafts and with ID. So that is the endpoint. And this is, you can see, the parameters. So what are the parameters which we need to pass to this particular endpoint? Then you can see, okay, the response 200. So this is success in one. And then what are the parameters on the success response? Then 404 is also available in this service, 500. Then each items are more detailed information is here, like what are the data types. So spacecraft object, what is the type? It's object. What are the required types? ID, name, and type. Then for ID, the property ID, the reference. Then what is the type? Data type, string. Likewise, all the information are here. And also you can see the documentation from here as well for our API. Okay, so then I won't edit anything. I will use the same given API, and also here also you can see. Okay, so for each section you can go, and for the particular section the documentation part is also here. You can see the documentation is also created very easily. So likewise, instead of wasting your time in these definitions and documentation, you can use Postman and its features to generate all this information for you. Okay, it's not done yet. So then, yeah, let me go back here, and then here also you can see some other features like the documentation you can view. And then if you want to add commits, so for your collaboration purposes, you can use these comment sections, and then also you can see the source control is also added. So then let's say the things which I did so far, I will commit and push with the commit message. So I will put as like test API spec, and I will directly push it to the main branch. Or else you can see the PR creations, all these options are also available. Then, so since this was like added into our first project on GitHub, so if you go to the particular repository, now you will be able to see more information. Let's say the last commit, let's check out. Okay, here, test API spec, the one which I committed just now. And if I go inside, you can see, okay, it put all this information like Postman. Then here you can see some metadata, and then the JSON file for our spec. Likewise, you can see my commits are also there. So now you can share it from there as well. And here again, you can see view schema documentation. And then here the server, and then the endpoint, the GET request with the endpoint details, those information are also there. So this is the documentation. Again, you can view the files if you need from here. Okay, likewise, so using the JSON file, you can view it. Okay, so this is how you can create your API specifications using Postman very easily. That's not all. There are more features here. Now, let's say if you want to test this. So while you are creating the specifications, then if you want to test it, okay, I will just go to collections, and here I will show you. Currently, I have only 3 collections: fake REST API, RESTful API, and the fork. Okay, so then I will come back to my API. Here, if you check, there is option called collections. So now I will click here, add a collection, copy existing collection, generate from the definition, and add new collection. Those options are there. And here also I go to add collection, and here you will see this generate from definition. So since we have already created this definition, we can ask Postman itself to generate a collection for ourselves. So then using the collection, we can test our API as well. So, or else like, yeah, you need to go to the collections and create it from scratch. But to save your time, this provides that particular option. Instead of creating it by yourself, you can ask Postman to create the collection from the definition. So it will go through the definition file, this index.json file. It will check all the information, and then based on this, it will try to generate a collection for ourselves. So yeah, let's try out that. Generate from definition. And here you can give a collection. So I will give the same name, QVBro API collection. And some settings are also here. You can modify those as well. And I will click on generate collection. Now here you can see there is option. Like previously we had only the definition folder. Now you can see a collection also create. The collection is there. And then here also like you can view the documentation. Some information like this will be generated. And here if you come back to this place and under collections, now you will see your collection is added and the collection documentation also you can view. So now you have a complete your spec and the collection and the documentation. For your API, you can create all these things like it didn't take much time, isn't it? Within 5 minutes, you can do all these things. The only thing here, you need to create the definition. And then, yeah, even that also you can create using a template to save your time. And then easily you can create the collection. Now you can share this with any of your clients or other third parties who will be using the APIs. Okay, let's come back to this place. Okay, my request is there. So it has the base URL, the space crafts, and here you need to replace this with your ID. And if you check the parameters, yeah, since this is get request, only the ID you need to give as other path parameters here. The authorization, it was there here. If you check the API key, those things, XAPI key. So those things are also here. Then the headers and the scripts you can create for yourself likewise. But now if I try to send this, it will fail because there is no base URL. Because it's not hosted anywhere. I don't have such API. So in that case, it will fail. But I want to show you now, yeah, it was failed. So I just wanted to show this because then I can easily show you the mock servers as well. Okay, so before going into the mock servers, let's talk about like why these mock servers are useful. So this is one example or one need. So when you are working on your APIs or when you are creating these test cases, maybe your backend team is still working on your APIs. So now you either like, yeah, you need to wait till they finish their work until you get a deployment to start your API testing. But now, yeah, with these sprints, it's a bit hard with our hard deadlines. We can't stay that long. Then we have very short time. We need to rush the things. Then there is a high chance where you will miss bugs as well. But what if you can start your creating your test scripts while the developers are working on their backend? So yeah, that is possible with the mock servers. So you can create your APIs following the documentation or the specifications. So the developers will also follow that. Then if you want to try this out to send a request and try out these things, then the mock servers will be there. So, okay, let's say if you are doing actual testing, what will you do is like the base URL will be the URL where actually your application is hosted. So your backend deployment is where the particular environment you will put here as the base URL. But currently, since we don't have the actual deployment, so what we can do is like we can create some test servers, let's say, called the mock server. So the purpose of mock is like, so from the name also it says it's mocking. We are trying to mock the actual servers. So creating the mock server won't take much time because we don't go in deep and creating all these business scenarios. We just create the mock saying like if you receive a request like this, then response with this. Like that's it. So it won't take much time. So very easily you can create your mock servers and you can deploy. So there are other tools as well where you can create mock servers. I will talk about those in later weeks. So today I will show you like how you can use Postman to create this mock server. So I hope it was clear. And let's say not only the given example, let's say, okay, you guys are using these APIs and you are calling some outside vendors, so third-party services. Okay, from your application, you want to call a Google API. So then in that case, since these Google services are not with you, either while you do the testing also, you might have to integrate with the Google API. So sometimes these are costly, isn't it? Because like you need to pay for these services, these third parties. So in that case, it's not a good idea to test it, these services, actual integration. So what you can do is like you can check the Google API specs, and then okay, like for what are the requests and response, all these things. Then you can mock these things at your side. So for the testing purpose, you can use the mock servers. Even after the deployments as well, you can depend on this mock servers for your on testing environment. On the production environment, it will send the call to the actual services, actual Google endpoints. But at your non-prod environments, the regressions, daily regressions, you will run against a mock server. So that is also another example of where you can use these mock servers. I hope it was clear. There are some other scenarios as well where you can use mock servers. Okay, so now I will use the same API and let's try out to create a mock server. So I will click on the mock servers here, and then you will see the create mock server option. Here you can select existing collection or create new collection. I will go with the existing collection, but there is a problem. My collection is not showing under the collections folder. So in that case, it won't be showing here. Currently, my collection is under the APIs here, under my API. So I need to move this under the collections. So to do that, I will click here, the three dots, and there is the option called copy to collections. So if I do that, here now you will see my same collection was copied to the collections part, and then my request is also here. Currently the base URL, yeah, this one I will remove because currently I don't have the mock server. Okay. Then again, let's go to the mock servers, and I will click on the create mock server, and existing collection, I will give a name. So let's say QE Bro mock collection. I will select the same QE Bro API collection. No, if there are any environments you need, so I will give with no environment, and the delay. So delay means like if you select this, once you send the request, it will wait till 100 milliseconds until it send the response. So I will go with no delay. And here some other options are there, like you can save the URL as a new environment variable and make mock server private likewise. Then to call a private mock server, you need to add XAPI key header to your request, and then you need to create this via the Postman API key. So that you need to remember. So if you go with here this option, so when you send the request, you need to add the authorization. And then you can generate the API key. So you know how to generate the API key. So I will go with the private one, and I will click the create mock server. Since we asked to create the mock server from one of our collections, so it knows like all the information about these URLs and the endpoints and the path, then the parameters, everything it knows. Then here is the thing, like, so now what it do is like it will run in a server with the services, the mock server for ourselves, for us on this particular endpoint. So you can copy this particular endpoint. Yeah, let's just try out this on the browser. Okay. So you can see mock request not found because we just send, and here, however, like using this error message also, now you can see, okay, there's the mock server running, up and running. So what you need to do next is like you can copy this particular URL, come to your collection, here base URL, this particular variable, so you can enter the value. So then in this URL, /spacecraft/ this ID, you can give any integer value here. I will give as 3. Then I don't need any authorization since I'm running the public one. And then I will send the request. And here now you can see in the response we have 404. Okay, because this particular resource is not there. But it's because like we don't have created any objects currently for the mock server to return. So here you can see those information like how you can set up the mock to send sample responses. So yeah, let's check out that. Okay, so here you saw like how to create your mock server, and then like we first created the API and then asked the API to create the collection, and then we went and create the mock server. Right? But let's check another way. Let's say if you have already created the collection, that's how like when you do the testing, you won't create the API specs and anything. you will create your collection, right? You will start creating the collection, and then you will need to have the mock service. So let's see how you can do it. So this is like one of the collections I have already used in last videos. So we were calling this fake REST API, and then let's try out the get request. Okay, so here it will return the objects, and then the post request is also there. In the body we send this information, and then it created a new object and it returned the 200. Okay, so now we have get and post. Likewise, you can have the other methods as well. So here if you click on the three dots, then there will be the option called mock collection. I will click on the mock collection, so existing collection. Again, the same things, you need to select the the collection, and then I will give the mock name. Now environment, those things I will not select, and I will create the mock server. And then my new mock server is running at this particular endpoint. So likewise, you can create your mock servers from here as well. So these are the different places you can create the mock servers and how to play with the mock servers. So I hope it was clear. And also if you go to mock server again, and here if you click on this, let's say mock server details, and here you can see some of the information related to mock servers and how many like requests come to the mock server, those usage instructions information also you can view it. So yeah, for the last couple of weeks we were exploring the Postman features. I hope I covered almost all the things in the Postman, and now you know how you can use this awesome tool for your API designing, documentation, development, and the testing, and also for the mocking and the documentation, collaboration, then for the version management, and for all these things, how you can do using the Postman. I hope all the things were clear. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate, you can ask me anytime. Either you can use the comment section down here, or else you can drop me an email at qvbro.pro@gmail.com. I'm really happy to help you guys with all your queries. So happy testing and see you till next week.